1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2.
This is part of what it takes to become a member of a group that calls itself Proud Boys. Getting punched by a group of guys while naming breakfast cereals to join the self-professed Western chauvinist multiracial fraternal organization started in the U.S. last year.
The CBC. Moving so much closer to the garbage journalism that is CNN and BuzzFeed and New York Times and stuff like that. So much wrong with this 2-minute hit piece on Gavin McInnes. It's hard to condense it all into such short time, but they actually did it. So let's take a look at it, all right?
1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2.
This is part of what it takes to become a member of a group that calls itself Proud Boys. Getting punched by a group of guys while naming breakfast cereals to join the self-professed Western chauvinist multiracial fraternal organization started in the U.S. last year.
Did they just try to make a bunch of dudes playfully punching each other and naming breakfast cereal brands as something threatening? I think that's just what they tried to do. Oh, here's a guy from the Hill, a completely unbiased source of information.
Things they do include sort of getting in brawls with left-wing protesters.
In Halifax on Saturday, 5 members of the Proud Boys, also members of the Canadian Armed Forces, disrupted an...
Oh, left-wing protesters, you mean Antifa, those violent terrorist groups. Okay. Violence still not good, though. You're right.
Indigenous protest on Canada Day.
This is Canada.
So they disrupted an Indigenous protest. Let me tell you what the protest was. It was run by Chief Mama Grizzly, which I could really just stop right there. So the protest was that she was shaving her head to protest the atrocities against Indigenous people on Canada Day, mind you.
The Proud Boys' Canadian founder, Gavin McInnes, launched a petition against that decision. He says the men heard about an anti-Canada Day protest and simply showed up to question it.
And then they politely walk off. That's it. And now these guys are going to lose their livelihoods because that's somehow racist?
McInnes denies his group is racist and likens it to the Knights of Columbus and the Shriners. McInnes himself is a well-known provocative right-wing commentator. He's been called out as anti-Semitic, and he's posted a video listing 10 things he hates about Jews.
Oh, he's been called out as anti-Semitic. I see. This is the worst part, the subtle racism. Gavin McInnes has a Native wife, Native kids. His organization has people of all colors. He works for the Rebel Media, which is run by a guy named Ezra Levant. He's Jewish. And then they showed this clip, oh, he's 10 things I hate about Israel. That is from a video that's obviously satirical if you watch it, and it's part of a broader trip that the Rebel Media went to Israel for, and basically talked about how good it was there. So, no, he's not anti-Semitic, sorry. Oh, here's some angry, lonely woman. It's a white male perspective. No, they have, like, what are you, 13? They have members of different races. You're just, oh my God, sorry, lady. It's not just white males for everything to blame.
Not so much Christian, I think, in this group, but a white male perspective.
She says the group is part of a wider movement emboldened by the rise of the extreme right in the U.S. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
So here's the problem. I don't agree with everything Gavin McInnes says and does. I'm not a member of the Proud Boys. This is just garbage journalism from a government-run media source. They don't interview anyone from either side, because if they did, if they interviewed someone from the Native side, then they see that they were flying the flag upside down and that they really don't like Canada. And I don't mean all Natives at all. I just mean this group of people. Sorry, I have to point that out. And if they interview someone from the Proud Boys side, they'd be like, look, we have non-white people here. We have other people here. We're not racist or anything. We just came over and started asking them questions and they freaked out. But they don't want you to have either side, because then they would look like they're doing bad reporting, which they are. So here's what they don't show you. It's the fact that the protesters were flying the Canadian flag upside down. They had wrote stuff on it, which is defacing it on Canada Day, remind you. And they got upset at these kids who came up with a colonialist flag. So the flag we used to use before the maple leaf. So you're doing your little ceremony in the daylight in a public area, basically saying Canada's evil. And then you get upset and triggered when a bunch of unthreatening youth come and ask you simple questions. How do they respond? You guys are racist. You guys are illiterate. You're stupid. They didn't show that part of the video, did they?
And we're just asking, we'll respect your ceremony as long as you don't interrupt this specific.
We're not here to interrupt.
Okay. All we're asking is that you go around instead of cutting through the front.
No, we're curious about what you guys were saying. Exactly.
Hey, you want to listen quietly?
Yeah, that's all we're here for.
Great. Then let's listen quietly.
This is a flag. Sorry, what?
That's why you can't have this. In Canada?
It's Canada.
Are you insane?
Can we quiet down, please? Yeah, no.
Are you crazy?
Okay, so the respectful thing that we're trying to say is this is the land of the Mi'kmaq, which predates Canada.
This is unceded Mi'kmaq territory.
And what we're trying to do today is have a respectful ceremony in remembrance.
We want not bother you?
Right.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like, was it always in the Mi'kmaq land?
Yes, it was.
Did they ever come from anyone else? Was this?
No, it has always been unceded Mi'kmaq territory.
Before the land bridge, though, right? Yeah. Was that after the land bridge?
The land bridge has been disproven, so you may stop.
Ceremony. You need to respect.
We're trying to listen. All I'm hearing is a lot of preaching. I want to get the ceremony.
Let's all listen.
Okay, so if the ceremony is going on, keep it first. Keep it down. Keep it down.
I have every right to be here. Look at that, you're flipping our flag upside down, sign of disrespect, and yet you're telling me I'm being disrespectful by flying my flag. You're flipping my flag upside down.
Is it yours?
You're
I
also
heard you say mine.
defacing the
Is
flag.
it yours, pretty boy? I'm sorry if it bothers you.
I didn't say it bothered me. I
Then
said
why are you
you were saying
complaining?
how my flag. You defend your right to do this.
Would you lower your voice?
Go defend it somewhere else.
You deface the flag of Canada.
It says decolonize. I'm sorry you weren't taught to read. Now please leave.
see the D.
Go, go.
I
I don't like you.
Why? You don't know me.
I don't need to know you. I don't like you.
I don't hate you.
That's cool. I didn't say I hate you.
Well, yeah. You're Métis, so
No,
there
you're
you
not.
go. Yes, I am.
Don't pull that bullshit.
I'm Métis.
Oh, yeah?
100% tree.
Okay.
Cree and French.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah? Show some pride and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Don't
fucking tokenize him, man.
He'll tokenize himself. Please lower your voices, please.
Being here and bringing
I have ancestors
flag
that
up.
died in World War I
You're not
and World War II and the Korean War that died for this country that you're defacing here. So you're disrespecting my ancestors.
And here's a screenshot from a website they have, which is like something like antiracism.org or some other nonsense, where they try to identify all the kids involved and out them as racist because, you know, that's what responsible adults do, get angry at 20-year-olds for coming and ask them questions. It even says in the original article, I'll quote that now, Kelly McNeil, who witnessed the interaction, said the men kept their voices down as the ceremony continued and left after about 10 minutes. 10 minutes! And all of a sudden these people are in trouble with the government. It's not a PR stunt, everybody, I swear. Not a PR stunt for the liberals. If this type of stuff keeps happening, you're going to get exactly what you have in the United States, okay? You'll have the media and other protesters being supported by one side of the government, probably the liberals, and getting offended and calling everybody racist just for asking them questions or just for, you know, wanting to know what's going on. You're not just blindly agreeing with us, you're racist. And what's the fallout of that? Instead of getting to talk about real issues, people like me have to sit here and defend Gavin McInnes, even though we don't agree with everything he says, just like people in the US have to defend Donald Trump, even though they don't agree with anything he says, just because of stupidity. It's really annoying. People would rather call everything a racial injustice and play the victim and try to sympathize and virtue signal with people they think are victims than read anything or pay attention to anything. None of this actually said anything that they were talking about. None of this said anything what the protest was for. None of this said anything about what the natives were angry about. If they have a legitimate issue, then why aren't you reporting on that? They were flying the flag upside down on Canada Day, defaced, in a public park, and then got upset when a few individuals came for less than 10 minutes and asked them questions about it. What a bunch of bullies. I'm sorry, but the court finds you not victims. Get over it.